In the earlier days of the channel, I received a comment suggesting I try my hand at an Epidemius on Palanquin of Nurgle. Firstly, I had to look up what Palanquin was. It's an often enclosed or covered bed, couch, chair that gets carried on the shoulders of big strong boys, more or less. In this instant, Nurglings carry around Epidemius, a special plaguebearer who keeps a written record of disease and suffering on the battlefield. All kind of standard Nurgle-y stuff. I honestly wasn't a fan of the official model and don't really like Nurglings piled up like they usually are because they're my dudes. But I always kept that idea in the back of my mind in case I came up with an interesting take on the Epidemius character. So time passed, and I just happened upon the Forces of the Abyss Warlock model by Mantic Games, and that idea sparked again. Reverse Epidemius. One big demon carries around a bunch of Nurglings that together do the job of Epidemius. So I ditched the original Warlock. I'll find a use for him someday. I didn't want the Nurglings just surfing on top of a flat platform, so I started work on some sort of chair for one to sit in and the rest could sort of hang from, I guess. I wanted to try having the chair be stone instead of wood, so I made a mold of some rectangles of Dollar Tree foam I textured and cast some slabs with mixed to mold ceramic resin powder. I thought I'd try this product out and see how it compares to plaster. My opinion is still kind of out on that, but I managed to piece together this stone throne. There isn't a ton of space on the platform, but this tiny seat just fits. I picked one out from the Nurglings box that I want to sit on the throne. It was very tedious trying to Frankenstein Nurgling pieces into this chair and look natural. I have so much worthless footage tinkering with this one Nurgling. A lot of sprue goo and plastic glue was used to weld everything together. I kind of got burned out on recording because it took forever to get this one guy to sit right. It also doesn't help that my thumb is larger than one entire Nurgling, and often my hands cover up what I'm trying to show you that I'm doing. But eventually, I got the little guy to look like he's lounging, barking the occasional word of encouragement to his cohorts. The next order of business was getting the chair on the platform. I used a lighter to heat up and reposition one of the protrusions from the platform, because who has the time to go to the kitchen and heat up some water and then dunk it back in cold water? Yeah, used a lighter. Then with a rotary tool, I carved a nice little nook for the throne to fit so that it looks like a part of the platform and not just something that was glued on. The big demon's horns seemed like they'd get in the way, so they had to go. Maybe I could glue them back on in a more Nurgling Great Unclean One position? Who knows? And the chains also had to be removed. This guy is carrying the Nurglings around because he wants to. He's one of the homies. I glued it all onto a base and glued on the rest of what I think was supposed to be the original model's cape, but for me it will be a banner. Still not sure how I'm going to paint that because it's sort of an odd dimension. There's also supposed to be a tail, but I'm going to cover that up with some milliput and also extend the banner to the top of the throne. Then I kind of went wild, gluing on Nurglings off camera. I debated giving a sword to the one in the chair so he seemed more important, giving a reason why he got the only seat, but the sword obscures the Nurglings behind him, so he must have just been the first one to make it to the chair, I guess. You can tell by the varying colors that quite a few Nurglings were Frankenstein together to get a pose that fit on the palanquin, and also looked like a complete body because many were cut free from the Nurgling kit dog piles. I had to take a chunk out of the banner and the back of the throne to get this one's hand to fit right, which I'll then cover back up with some more milliput. I glued a Green Stuff World brass Nurgling symbol on the backrest because it looked wrong just leaving that space blank. I wanted to flood the model with Nurglings while still giving each one its space and not obscure any of the others. This was off camera, again, sorry, but they're so tiny and my hands are so big. The OG Epidemius carried around an hourglass, so I made one out of beads, plastic circles made with a hole punch, and some thin plastic rod. I also gave the piggyback Nurglings a sword I lifted from the Blightlord's kit. I gave one Nurgling the beautiful quill from the Spoilpox Scrivener to record the aforementioned disease and suffering onto a scroll I think is from some Space Marine flying vehicle. Some of the fingers are stubbier because they broke off and are way too tiny for me to fix. I tried to fix this one on the side by super gluing very thinly rolled strands of green stuff onto the hand and then using sprue goo to blend it together. Not great. Despite that, I am pretty proud of this one. I've got a couple more Nurgling related things that I'm gonna probably start working on soon, so stay tuned for that. Like the video if you liked the video. But that's it for this one, so I guess we're done here. Thanks for watching.